right? Personal, meaning it's about me, it's for me, it's personal to me, it's my secret. That's how we take personal finance. So, what we do is we go and budget in our bedrooms in our little budget book, and we write that we make sure nobody ever gets to see that budget. When it's time to invest, we pop it a little bit out here and we tell nobody about it. Sometimes, even in relationships and marriages, people try their best not to say anything. In fact, the only time you speak loudly about your money is when you tell your kids, I don't have money for that this month. Is that the right way to be doing things? Today we're looking at a conversation that is the contrary to this. It's called loud budgeting, and it's an emerging approach to personal finance that encourages people to openly share their spending limits and their financial goals. Sounds super scary to most of us, doesn't it? But we're finding out why it isn't scary and how it's reshaping personal finance and responsibility, as well as the management of our money. Joining us on the line is Tsungai Masende, a certified financial planner and director at IWCP Preventers. Tsungai, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Valessa. Good morning to your fantastic listeners. Oh my goodness, I love this. This is probably my best topic ever. So let's get right into it, Fale. So,
Tsungai,
loud budget.
yes.
What is this thing? Okay. So it really just means taking a proactive, a transparent, and a vocal approach when you're talking about money. And quite interestingly, when I went through our history, even from a financial perspective, we've been doing loud budgeting. We just didn't know
What?
that it had a Yes, girl, we have been doing loud budgeting, and I'm about to share exactly how it's been done previously.
Well, let's speak about that because many of us, like I said, the only time we speak about money openly is when we're telling someone, hey, I don't have the money for that, especially the kids because they're always wanting something. Mommy, daddy, can I get some new sneakers? And you say, I don't have money for new sneakers this month. Please, I have so much stress. And that's the only time we want to be loud about our finances. But we take the personal part of the personal finance very personal. Like, this should be a secret. Is that so? Should our money be our secret? Should we be doing it in our little corners and not bringing anyone in on it?
Absolutely not, Palesa. And one key example I actually want to talk about where we have been doing loud budgeting for years and years on end is stokvels. So if you think about the premise
Mm.
of a stokvel, it's individuals that come together that have a shared goal, and that goal could be buying groceries at the end of the month. It could be making sure that we can actually bury our loved ones when they pass away. It could be being in a position to support the elderly when they are much grown and are not able to contribute economically. So loud budgeting has been there, but we just haven't been conscientious that we are being a little bit more transparent about our money. We are sharing information about our finances, and we are collaborating on a shared goal. So loud budgeting is not something new. And like you said, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we are scared of the unknown because we term these things with fancy things. But who's ever afraid to go to the Stockville meeting? Absolutely no one, because we know it works. We know it will help us at the end of the day. And that's exactly what loud budgeting is all about. It's saying, come, let's be open about the way that we share money. Come, let's be open and have accountability in the way that we handle finances. Come, let's be transparent about this topic of money.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you because the Stockfells have something that have existed in our African communities for a very long time, and people come together and say this is how much we're putting aside. But outside of that Stockfell meeting or that shared money place, who else should we be telling about our money? Because outside of that, many people who even those who are part of these Stockfells are still keeping their money matters very very secret and private.
So, one good way of starting the open journey of talking about money is to have your own personal accountability partner. Coming back to that issue you mentioned about, it is a personal journey, and financial planning is not a one size fits all. So, the best place to start is by hiring or partnering with a trusted certified financial planner. If you go onto the website for the Financial Planning Institute, you can actually find someone who you can resonate with so that you can start having better money conversations. Not only does having a certified financial planner in your life help make sure that you can set goals that are smarter, meaning they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, realistic, and time bound, but it also makes sure that you have a thought partner, someone who can help you think through your money matters differently. I've found situations in some instances when I'm consulting with clients where people think this big, hairy, audacious goal is unrealistic, it's unachievable. But because I come with a fresh perspective, a new lens of eyes, a new way of thinking through things, what happens is all of a sudden we put together a plan, we continue conversing about this tough topic on money, and within a year, 2 years, people are mind boggled how they were actually able to achieve their goals. So there's nothing impossible, Palesa. Get yourself a certified financial planner as a starting point to help you become more comfortable about talking about money. But another challenge I want to put to our audience today is at the Christmas dinner, all right? Don't be talking about Bram Swelly's new car. Initiate the conversation about investing. And you know what? Investing doesn't have to be this, fancy thing that only the people in gray suits and black suits do. We can actually start investing ourselves. We can invest in our cousin's business as a start. We can invest in brands and companies that we already know. And I'm always encouraging females, instead of buying the Louis Vuitton bag, own the Louis Vuitton shares. How amazing would it be if we started having conversations like this at platforms that we already have, like family dinners, family meetings, our traditional gatherings? Let's not be afraid to have this conversation about money, because the only way, even as a child, you get better at speaking isiXhosa, Zulu, Afrikaans, is if you keep speaking it, all right? You start as a toddler and you keep working at it until you become a pro and you're now talking to people in boardrooms or at conferences. Same thing with money. You're not going to get any better at it unless you keep talking the language. And that's what we're encouraging here. Go for loud budgeting.
All right. We'll come back and speak a little bit more about this loud budgeting. So guys, stay on the line with us. We'll continue this conversation after the break.
The G20 Summit through African eyes, live updates, and expert voices only on Channel Africa.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
OK. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Certified financial planner Tungai Masendeke is joining us today to speak about loud budgeting. You're still listening to Money Matters. Tungai, you spoke about sitting, at the Christmas table and saying, hey guys, let's start and invest. Let's, speak about money. But there's a danger somewhere, in terms of like, what exactly is your intention when you start loud budgeting? Because if I tell anyone who will listen, my family members, my friend, about my money and my budget, sometimes chances are I'm going to have more people knocking on my door saying, hey, can you borrow me 500? Because I know now how much you have for the investment. Come on, you'll invest next month. I know you have 500 there to invest. Hey, can you borrow me 2,000? Because remember when we spoke about your money, you said that's how much you save every month. So give me some from your savings, man. You'll bring it back again next month. Is loud budgeting dangerous, Tungai?
You know what? That is such an honest question. And I love it because that's probably how 80% of the people listening to this are actually thinking. If I become too transparent, that made me a soft target. Will I now become the mashonisa for the whole family?
Yeah.
All right. And you know what? Fear is only there as long as you don't have enough evidence about the reality. So the reality is Just because I'm being open about strategy that can be utilized from a financial planning perspective doesn't mean I necessarily have to always also disclose what it is I'm actually going to be investing. So if I'm at the coffee table with my family, we're having breakfast, I can be honest about, you know what, I heard that there's this great opportunity where we can actually invest. Have you heard from a debt management perspective that you can go for debt counseling and you won't actually lose your assets if you take on that 5-year program of being rehabilitated? So it's about being open and sharing knowledge that helps people make progressively better financial decisions. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with the process or the phenomenon of Kaizen, which says that small, incremental, consistent changes can actually result in a compounded growth or compounded effect over time. So if we become progressively consistent and better at talking about money, it means that the quality of decisions that we actually make becomes better. So personal finance is something that is personal, like we mentioned, but it doesn't mean that we're necessarily opening ourselves to then becoming the financial bag for the entire family. It's about being open about the conversations that will help challenge the mindsets, the thought processes, the way that we perceive even money, so that it doesn't become taboo, all right? The same way that we are able to have conversations about, oh, where's the next mujolo or where there's the next party? We must be able to say, oh my goodness, where's the next opportunity financially? Where's the opportunity for me to grow my money? Where's the opportunity for me to save? Where's the opportunity for me to make more money or to stretch the money that I already have? That's what we're advocating for. And it will not necessarily mean that you become a soft target, but it means that we become wiser and smarter about how we allocate money, how we use money, and how we get ourselves out of debt as well.
Now, let's speak about how we can be intentional when you start loud budgeting. You're hearing about this for the first time. You're like, okay, this sounds like a great strategy. And for someone like, many of us who can't stay accountable, at the gym and on our budgets, we need someone else to help us, with those accountability. And loud budgeting can sort of help with that. So how do you start this journey in an intentional way? How do you, recognize the people that you can loud budget with, the people who are, good enough to hold you accountable and that you can hold accountable as well? How do you begin this loud budgeting journey?
So I say iron sharpens iron. Find like-minded people who already love to talk about money, who already love to talk about the progress they're making financially, who love to share information and ideas. That's always a great starting point. And what I would actually encourage people to do is start with 2 or 3 friends. Find a financial wellness, a financial and investment conference you can attend, and start there, because you share the philosophy of wanting to grow your wealth. You share the philosophy of wanting to make your money work for you. So find 2 or 3 people, go to an investment conference, an investment seminar, a financial planning workshop, and from there, share ideas. What can we take action on? What can we implement? Because I cannot emphasize how many people go for workshops, conferences, conventions, the work, they tick the box, get the t-shirt and the lanyard, but after that, they do absolutely nothing. So in terms of starting, find like-minded people, find an event that you can actually go to, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be an event. Read a book. There are a lot of great books about money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Psychology of Money. You're Not Broke, You're Pre-Rich. All those are great books that you can actually start reading as a community, and you build on that knowledge as a community. After every chapter, you ask yourselves, what is it that we learn? What is it that we can implement? How can I do things differently so that I can start winning on this money game, which is another great financial book, by the way. So there's a lot of content out there. If you don't want to buy books, then go onto the internet. There are a lot of fantastic platforms, even Moms and Money, one that I also run, where you can literally go in there, find a principle or concept, break it down into small actionable parts, and you keep it under each other accountable, and you keep this thing moving. Loud budgeting. Let's go.
And when it comes to your immediate family, perhaps your partner and your children, I think, maybe I want us to look how we can include children in this, because we've learned our financial behaviors that sometimes have been to our detriment from our own parents and watching them and how they deal with money. If you want to have maybe a next generation that it's not really afraid to have money conversations, how do you bring the children into this loud budgeting?
Oh my gosh, Pale, you're making me so excited today. So one key thing I advocate for is the 3 S's. Very key, simple process you can introduce to your kids. First S is when you get money, yes, you're allowed to spend it, because we also don't want to create unhealthy individuals that feel they always have to become extreme savers.
Yeah.
So give them the permission to spend. At the same time, you introduce them to saving. So that's the second S. So it's spending, it's saving. And then the third S, which is also important in helping to start grooming that philosophy of abundance, that they don't have to always be scratching around, etc., is sharing. Because when you actually learn to share, you're saying, I have enough for myself. I trust that I'm going to keep on producing more, and I don't have to be a hoarder. So you teach them how to spend responsibly. You teach them how to save. You teach them how to invest also in things that will help them to generate more interest through compounding, and you teach them how to share. So 3 key principles: for every 100 Rand, every 50 Rand you give your child, let them have 3 jars: the spend jar, the save jar, and the share jar, and give them the opportunity to start deciding how much do I allocate to each of these jars. And progressively, as they become better, you level it up. So if in the beginning they're spending 80%, sharing 10%, and saving 10%, you start incentivizing them by giving them a little bit of interest for every amount that they actually save. So they start then to shift from more spending to more saving, because they understand, the savings jar is actually growing. And slowly but surely, you introduce principles that can be life-changing even when they become adults.
I love that. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to chat to you once again, Sungai. Let us know where we can find you for your services.
So the people out there can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Sungai Masendeke. They can find me on Instagram, momsandmoney_, or they can simply just send me a WhatsApp message, 073-519-2358.
Thank you so much. It's always great to chat to you. That's Certified Financial Planner and Director at IWCP Preventers, Sungai Masendeke, helping us unpack this seemingly new phenomenon, loud budgeting. Is that something that you'd look into? Let us know at Channel Africa 1. It's 11:30. Once again, let's get our latest in sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.